There's magic in the air
tonight. Like,
that's a very good impression.
In the air. One more sleep till Christmas.
that's just always in my head at some point.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of The Week in Nintendo Land. We've had the Golden Joysticks, we've had the Game Awards, but what people are really clamoring for is an irreverent, wholly original take on award season. And that's why we're bringing you our very own alternative awards. Forget stuff like Best Studio or Best Narrative, we're recognising the real winners and losers of 2020, with categories hand-picked by our Switch player team. And joining me is an esteemed panel of judges, revered across the industry. First up, hosting a podcast with them already feels like I've won an award. It's Anna and Nathan.
Hello.
And our guest this week is our dear leader, the head honcho, the editor-in-chief of Switch Player magazine, Mr. Ben Hayhoe. Ben, how are you?
Hi, Alex. I'm really well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So Ben, you've recently become the editor-in-chief of Switch Player magazine, but you've been on the team for a while now, right?
I have, yeah. I think I've been here about six or 7 months now with the team. Yeah.
That's quite an ascension. Going 7 months, just seek straight into editor-in-chief.
Yeah. I think it's basically I just irritation. That's my tactic. Irritation until somebody gives in.
So obviously your tenure's been off to a really good start, but what kind of plans have you got for 2021 to take Switch Player beyond?
Yeah, so I mean we've had a fantastic year at Switch Player. The quality of the writing and the artwork has just been incredible, and I think it's a continuation of that quality. But we also want to hone in on specialist issues and do some stuff to celebrate maybe some areas of the industry that we haven't yet. And I don't want to obviously share too much about that because we want some surprises, but there's going to be some interesting issues looking at maybe people who haven't so far, like focusing on perhaps the developers of our beloved games.
That sounds very exciting. Can't wait to see what comes up next year. So right, let's move on to the alternative awards. So what we're going to do is we're going to reveal a category, and then we're each going to put forward a nominee a game from 2020 before we debate who should be the winner. And then we'll come to a mutual conclusion. Hopefully, there will be no fighting, no screaming matches. We'll mutually decide a winner. So does that sound simple enough?
We'll see.
We'll see.
Try my best. I know how stubborn Nathan is. So.
Well, with the exception of, I think the first category, their games are not from 2020, but we're hoping they'll be for soon, right?
Exactly. So the first award is Best Podcast About a Weekly Nintendo News from a print magazine dedicated to the Switch. So I know, joking. So let's kick things off. So by handing out our first figurative trophy of the night, I thought I'm going to mix it up. We'll start on a low note. So hopefully things can only get better from here. But let's talk about our biggest disappointment of the year. Oh. So we'll kick off, because I thought if Cyberpunk 2077 came to Switch, obviously that would be a shoo-in, judging by the reactions to what the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions are like. But let's get your nominees. Ben, what's your nominee for biggest disappointment of the year?
Okay, so it's kind of a double hit, really. So my biggest disappointment is Control, and specifically cloud-based gaming being the focal point for games like Control. But I'll focus on Control specifically. I gave it a whirl. I'm a bit cynical about cloud-based gaming anyway, but I was open to it. I gave it a whirl. Just absolutely shockingly bad. These are games like Control, which are really stylish, fast-paced, fluid games. They're designed to be played like that. You can't have anything that brings that quality down. And that was just, it was worse than subpar. It was just not an acceptable version of Control, which is a fantastic game.
Interesting. Anna, what's your nominee for this category?
So the game itself wasn't that much of a disappointment until you realize that it's almost exactly like the predecessor, which is Fitness Boxing 2. I got to review it for Nintendad, and I loved the game, but then I realized that most of it was copy pasted from the first game, and you're paying full price for it. well, close to full price. And the karaoke tracks were also really, really bad. They sounded like, the clinky YouTube versions of like, we're going to get DMCA'd for that now. But they're like really clinky like that. They're a lot of the pop tracks that you're supposed to get excited about are really bad. So unfortunately, even though it's a good exercise, it was more of a disappointment for me than I would hoped.
So you could just buy the first one and be happy.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a choice, you should buy the second one. But if you have the first one, you're going to be really disappointed by the second one. And then if you compare the second one to the first one, you're going to be like, it took you this long to make this. So yeah, either way, you're going to be a little peeved.
Great. And Nathan, what's your pick?
See, I struggle with this because I reviewed Paper Mario Origami King for Switch Player, but I kind of knew where that was going from the beginning. So that wasn't disappointing as much as it was unsatisfying. So for me, sadly, it was a game that was probably a product of its own hype, was Super Mario 3D All-Stars, because we heard about this game, credible rumors started coming out about March, April or so. And we had all of lockdown to sit there and be like, every Mario game ever, all 60 frames, 4K. I reckon they're going to add new characters. And our imaginations went wild. And what we got was 3 games badly slapped together with old ROMs.
Almost exactly as we remember them.
Like running as badly as they ran 20 years ago or 10 years ago, with no improvements and steps backwards in accessibility. It was really frustrating. And they've amended a couple of those, like the inversion of the controls. You can now change that, and you can now play with the GameCube controller if you want to play Super Mario Sunshine that way. But stuff like the really stupid touch controls on Super Mario Galaxy, which are terrible for accessibility, and there's no excuse for, because the Chinese NVIDIA Shield release of Super Mario Galaxy just uses the right analog stick, so there's no excuse. And why are you telling me the Switch can't run Super Mario Sunshine at 60 frames? Are you telling me Nintendo, who have got Super Mario Odyssey running at 1080p 60 frames, could not do that?
I'm not telling you that.
I ain't having it.
Yeah,
And
it's
like, yeah. And
it's almost like the worst ways to play those games is on the Switch.
I completely agree with everything.
Yeah, it's frustrating because like having them on my Switch has been a miracle, and I've loved it, and I've played through them all again. I've had so many of those like happy moments that I've had, but like just marred with like, why does Super Mario 64 not have a widescreen mode if Sunshine does? And why, if it doesn't have a widescreen mode, do we just have a black border? Why is it just an ugly black border? Like, what is going on? Anyway, yeah. I want to, disappointment sounds really harsh, but it's more than missed opportunities. Those games are all masterpieces, and they should be revered and celebrated properly, and they weren't for me.
It sounds like you could talk for hours about that game.
Sorry.
We'll just sit back and let you go.
I've been on this podcast twice, and I think we've argued about Mario 3D All Stars and both of those games. just a common topic.
That was me last time as well, hosting it. I'm really sorry. I've said my piece now. I'm going to try and never bring up that game again until they add Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Unless it's nominated for another category. You never know.
Unless.
I'm going to nominate Outer Worlds because I'm a big RPG fan, and I was really looking forward to that game. I could have held off on buying it on Xbox or PlayStation 4. I was like, no, the Switch is the way to play it. I cannot wait. And I kind of read the reviews. I was like, I'll hold judgment. My friend bought a copy. The alarm bell should have started ringing. So after a week, he was like, "You can have it. You can play it. I don't want to play it anymore." And yeah, when I booted it up, like straight away, it was just like, "Oh my god, what the hell is this?" It was
performance issues, or
just and like textures, pop in, everything you don't want from a port. It was there basically. And I don't know if they brought out an update yet, or they're gonna bring one, but I don't want to go back to it really. So
I mean, that is a real shame, because that is a pretty fantastic game, especially if you're a fan of the old like Fallout New Vegas and Obsidian's work, because it feels like their work. It's a cool game. It's a shame that the Switch was.
Yeah,
so
it was kind of
poorly
it was close to unplayable. You know what everyone's going through with Cyberpunk 2077. That's how I felt with playing Outer Worlds. It was just like
Yeah.
I can't. It hurts my eyes to play. I cannot play this game.
Oh,
So
man.
I think I kind of played for 2 hours and was like, nah, I'm done. So any discussion around these nominees? So we've got 3D All Stars, fitness boxing. Ben, what was your one?
Control,
Control, yes,
cloud-based
of
control.
course. And Outer Worlds. So
I'd be pretty happy to throw my weight behind Control and cloud gaming because I tried the demo and had a really bad time with it. And I've got fairly good internet, so I don't know what they want from people. And it also makes me so nervous about the future of cloud gaming on Switch. So that's seeing that not only be terrible to play, but come in that form was a big disappointment for me with Nintendo this year.
Because we got Hitman 3 coming, like a cloud version of that. And I would love to play Hitman on the go, but if it's like that, I'm not gonna.
Why aren't they doing it with games like RPGs or something? Like Persona 5 would probably be fine cloud-based. Why are they doing like precise unplay games?
So right, anything turn-based, anything you've got time to stop and anything like that. Why are they bringing that stuff that is like really precise and like everything has to be timed perfectly and it's got fluidity? It's crazy. Yeah. But I don't know. I'd throw my weight behind pretty much any of those suggestions. I think Outer Worlds was a massive disappointment for a lot of people after it had already been brought out on a number of other systems, and they were like, "Yes, we're getting it," and it was like, "Well, we're sort of getting it, but not really." So yeah, I'm happy with any. I mean, for me, it's still cloud though.
I hate to make Alex a tiebreaker, but I think of all of them, the one I would throw my weight behind is probably Super Mario 3D All Stars, because I feel like a lot of people were really excited, like Nathan said, speculating, and then nothing. So I think I'll throw my weight behind that, which means you got to break our tie.
I'd say for me, Control. I think Ben's got a good case there. Where I saw on the director, I was like, "Oh my god, Control is coming to Switch. This is going to be incredible." And then I played it and was like,
and then the monkey paw finger curled.
Yeah, it was like, what is this? And I thought maybe if they threw you in like a really interesting section of the game, but just because it was the start of the game, where you're just kind of walking around corridors and stuff.
That was just like a janitor simulator.
I think that was strategic. If you ask me, I don't think if they'd given anyone an action section, I can't imagine how badly that would have.
I think
it was 40 quid, wasn't it?
Yeah, no.
I don't even understand how it works. It's like £40. Then you get the pass for that single game for that money.
But like, do I own a Steam version forever? Do I own? Because I don't think I do. I think I own it as long as those servers are up.
I think you get like a pass to stream it, don't you? And then that's it. And once it's gone or something.
Don't get John on this.
Oh god. Yeah.
I would be very interested to see almost like see who's played how the percentage of people who played the demo and then the percentage of people who bought it. It must be a very, very small
it's a good
margin,
point.
really. That'd be very interesting. But so are we declaring the winner Control and cloud-based gaming?
By democracy.
By democracy. It always works.
Sadly.
Yes, it never fails. Never fails.
Okay, so next up, let's talk about the short and sweet award. So we sometimes, we don't always have time to play 70+ hour games. We've all got lives outside of video games. So this accolade goes to those titles that don't hang around but leave a lasting impression. So we're calling it the Jonathan Canero Award because he came up with this category. He's our art editor. So what are we putting forward to win this? Ben, what's your nominee?
Yeah, so I'm not I'm not even sure if this would be the one that I'd actually vote for as the winner of this category, but I wanted to put as a nominee just so I could bring it up because not enough people know about this game, and it's called Stories Untold, and it's a wonderful short game which is like an anthology series. It's like 4 short stories that originally came around as like a text-based adventure. And I think it was called like Abandoned Mansion or something like that. And it was a text-based adventure that released for free in 2016. They've got a heck of a following, so they expanded it and they created this little anthology series, which basically links these 4 stories together. And they went from being text-based to being sort of first-person, sort of slightly horror-themed puzzle game narratives. They're very short, very sweet. They all go together nicely. And they've all got this vibe. I've got a real soft spot for anything from the 80s. I love, anything of that style. So it's full of tape recorders and old computers, and everything's really sort of analog based as you go through these different scenarios. And the music and everything that's done with it has that kind of vibe to it. It's not strenuous. It doesn't take a lot of thinking. The puzzles are simple enough to just casually enjoy. It's just lovely. And even the artwork for the poster is done by, I forget his name, it's Kyle something or other. He's the guy that did Stranger Things artwork for their posts and stuff like that. So it's got that vibe about it. It's got that same vibe as Stranger Things. So it's slipped under the radar a bit at the start of the year. And I just think more people should check it out.
It sounds like up my alley.
Nice. I've got it downloaded on my Switch. I just haven't had the time to play it. Because I think it had a big sale at one point, and so many people that I trust were recommending it. I thought, okay, let's save that for a rainy day.
Get it, yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
Anna, what's your pick?
Well, you guys actually, I think it was Nathan helped jog my, didn't you play this game this year, Anna? Because I'm like, I don't know if I played a short and sweet game. Well, duh, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, which it's arguable whether it's short because the story is very short and you can beat it very quickly, but then you will want to beat it again in a different difficulty, and because there's achievements, and you will want to beat all of the different side missions and the side story DLC stuff, and there's a lot of other stuff. So it's long if you consider the playtime, but it's short if you consider the plot, which is indeed short and sweet in the truest sense. It's like it'll make you smile, it'll make you go, oh no, but in a very pure way. I love everything about it, and we'll talk about Pikmin more later.
How long is it if you were going to sort of play the story missions? How long will it take you to kind of complete it? Is there like a rough?
It doesn't take long. A few short hours. Like what? 3? Yeah. Like the time it takes to watch a movie. You could beat it.
Wow.
I think if you knew what you're doing, I would say 3-4 hours.
If you're not like figuring out how the game works, then you could probably beat it in the time it would take to watch a long movie.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that short. Wow.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, that's like a really interesting.
I've never completed it that quickly though, because you get too excited exploring, I think.
Yeah, if you're really exploring around, then let's say like a season of a, binge a season of a popular TV show where the episodes are an hour long. Where it's like, one of those six episode. Okay, nice, so like short. 5 or short. It's short.
Okay.
That's the long end if you're really trying to complete it. But most people don't on their first pass, to be on one hand. But yeah, if you're trying to get all the fruit, that's another story. It's not a long game. You'll beat it and you'll go, I remember, this is how I'll put it. When I played it on the Wii U, because it's one of the few games that I actually got to experience on Wii U in depth, my only complaint was that it was too short.
Okay. That's that, because that kind of put me off. Was like, I played demos. I like this, but I don't know if I could play 10 hours of this game. But
no, it's not. It's not short, like that, unless you're like me and you want all the achievements.
Okay. And then Nathan, what are you going for?
So I went for one that I don't know. I haven't seen many people talking about this year. Is Knights and Bikes. So this was
never heard of it.
So it kind of was a bit similar to a short hike, which was going to be mentioned soon. It got big on Steam and people kind of talked about it, and then it quietly got a Switch port, and people seemed to really like it, but it just didn't get as much renown as a short hike. So it's this kind of, it looks almost like Paper Mario in a very different sense, and that the characters you control look like they're made out of paper, but it's much darker. It's set in 1980s Thatcher's Britain, but you play as 2 small girls, and they are on a holiday adventure on an island, and you are just those 2 girls exploring the island, having a good time together. But in the backdrop of the girl's dad has lost his job, and there's kind of a lot of social turmoil going on. It's got so much heart to it and really good environmental storytelling, whilst you were just going around riding a bike and doing basic combat and solving small puzzles. It's a really clever, really, really wonderful story. And it controls just really whip quick as well. It's just fun to You get like items to throw around and the actual like biking and stuff. It's really, really fun. I don't think enough people even know it exists.
I didn't, and that sounds again like up my alley. You're putting stuff on my wish list.
Yeah, I have that one downloaded actually. That's one I need to get round to, but it is on my download tray. But is that double fine?
I'm not sure. It looks like one, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure actually. It's a good one to do like Limbo or something. Like put an evening aside and be like, I'm going to finish this game today.
Oh, nice. Okay. I remember seeing the trailer and I wasn't quite sure what kind of game it was. It didn't kind of quite sell what it was or why you needed to buy it. So I kind of like just kind of brushed it aside, but definitely sounds like one I need to play.
Almost similar to a short hike, but more dour and you control more things.
Interesting. Okay. So with no surprise, I'm gonna nominate a short hike. So I'm a dad. I have like a 2.5-year-old, a 9-month-old. I don't get much time to really play, but a short hike. I remember hearing about it, how great it was. I don't know, Nathan, you were kind of talking about how brilliant it was. So it's like, like I remember reading it takes like 2 or 3 hours to complete if you just go for it, because I think the main objective is you just got to climb to the top of a mountain and that's it. And I just really enjoyed it. I was playing it as I was kind of like just sat outside my son's room waiting for him to go to sleep. I was just playing it in kind of little segments, and it was just a beautiful game, just so perfect, so nice. It's kind of the low res graphics, kind of DS style. I really enjoyed, and it was just a beautiful game, really fun. It didn't outstay its welcome, and I just really enjoyed every minute I had with that game. So definitely a short hike for me.
The art style is something that I want to ask you about, because you said it was DS. So you find it charming? Because when I see it, sometimes I wonder, does it look like just a game that doesn't belong on the Switch, or does that feel like kind of, how people do amazing pixel work? Like, how does it feel when you're playing it?
It feels absolutely brilliant.
It feels like it's meant to be that way.
Yeah, I think it's part of its charm as well. It's just so beautifully realized that. I don't know if it was kind of photorealistic or something different. I don't think it really worked, but I just loved it. It was just such a pleasant experience to play. It wasn't very challenging. It wasn't like you saw the game over screen over and over again. It was just a nice to kind of wander around, because it's set on an island. So just wandering around the island, talking to people, filling out kind of simple objectives, things like that. Getting feathers to climb higher up the mountain. It was just a really, really nice experience. I really enjoyed it. It was like a really warm, fuzzy kind of game to just sit down and play. I really look forward to playing it. It wasn't like a slog or anything, which some games can kind of become.
Yeah.
Mm. I think there's something to be said for these games. I think they're popping up more and more. I think it was seen previously that some people still believe that games have to be a certain length in order, to be good. And it's an absurd opinion that people have in my opinion. I think these 2-hour, 3-hour, 4-hour games can have some of the most poignant and direct and effective storytelling mechanics of all the games that you play. There are other examples. To the Moon, for example, which is a very short game, has one of the most heartbreaking and emotional stories ever. It's like 3 hours long. They pack it in, And I think Short Hike is a really good call in something that it's very simple in what it does, but it does you feel lighter. Having played it, it's quite remarkable.
At the end, I was almost getting a little bit teary, just a little bit. It's kind of.
It's like putting on a feel-good movie, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's really nice. So what are we thinking? What's the front runner here?
I'm happy to vote for a Short Hike. I reviewed it for Ninty Fresh. I give it 5 stars. I would have put it if you hadn't.
Yeah, exactly. It's me too. That's what I wanted to put. So.
All right.
Yeah. It's no.
I guess we're going with Short Hike.
So, what would you vote for, Anna? You haven't played Short Hike.
I actually would have either put it behind my own or Short Hike, because even though I haven't played it, everybody says it's the most charming, feel-good experience. That's all anybody says about it. So I was like, if I had to pick from the ones I haven't played, I probably would have picked Short Hike, because there's a reason it's gotten all that. Although now I want to play Stories Untold and Knights and Bikes.
Oh yeah, I'm the same. Pikmin as well. I really want to play that. That's really good.
You really should get a friend.
hoping for that for Christmas if my wife's listening. Let's go to the next award. So sharing a game with a friend is a beautiful experience, but sometimes it can go very, very wrong. I once had two friends got into a fist fight over Mario 64. Ended in like blood out of the nose. It was very violent. But
I love the passion.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
We were 11. We were fired up. Someone sent a blue shell, and that was it. It ended in 50. But so sort of inspired by those kind of incidents of bonds being broken, it's the game most likely to ruin friendships. So what are we picking, Ben?
Yeah, so I went a bit left field on this one, which actually links into what we were talking about earlier. So this I've gone for Mario 3D All Stars, but not on the basis that the game itself causes friendships to break down, but the arguments that are had over which is the best Mario game on the collection. Which is, they are the when this game came out and like you had the selection of the three, the amount of fiery passion that was about which one was the superior Mario game was just overwhelming. And like it, you saw it on Twitter, but then like I said, the last time Nathan and I were on a call, Nathan was back in Galaxy as I recall, and I was back in Mario 64 pretty heavily as well. And it's people feel very passionate about the one they considered to be the superior Mario game, and I think they'd fight, and there were many hills that were died upon during the release of that game.
So yeah, what Ben? So are you saying 64 is the best one of that collection?
Oh yeah, no, it's categorically the best of the collection. Absolutely. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, put up the fists.
We haven't got the time for this.
Exactly. It's so he's going red. See, look,
he actually is turning red. It's great.
It's fine.
Seething anger.
I'm only angry because what I should be arguing for is Super Mario Galaxy 2, but I can't even argue for that one being the best on the collection.
So that's a good pick. Anna,
awesome.
What are you going for?
So mine I kind of thought of on a whim, but I was like, actually, this makes sense because it's a game that came out this year. A bunch of AAA devs are behind it. So you might go, oh, it's cool. It's cute. It's got a bunch of like cute little cakes and stuff. And they're all like, they got these little noodle arms and they're like, wee, look at me, I'm in a party game. And then suddenly you're in the game and you're skewering each other and you're sabotaging each other and you're punching each other in the face and you're laughing at each other when you have rotten cheese on you. And I'm talking about Cake Bash. And it's basically like, it's not a perfect game. It doesn't have the biggest variety and stuff. But like, if you buy it, you're expecting like a happy little feel good romp with your friends, like you're gonna have fun, but you're also gonna hate everyone by the end. Like I think that Renata and I kind of low key, like she might hate me now because I punched her so many times when she did.
She was like, why are you doing this?
I was like, you're just standing there. I don't know. So Cake Bash.
Yeah, I don't know why Ben's looking so innocent when I specifically remember him attacking me when I wasn't even remotely winning.
I dropped my controller. It was a freak accident.
Sounds like this has already ruined relationships.
Oh dear, it was chaos.
I can feel the tension.
Exposed some truths.
Yeah. If you're like an HR person, I think we're hiring. We need someone to be a therapist for us to play Cake Bash.
Anna, is that why you primarily went to Ninty Fresh, just because of this falling out from Cake Bash? Yeah,
that was it.
I just can't work with these people anymore.
Oh well, I mean, I wasn't gonna say that, but.
The truth has been exposed. Nathan, what's your nominee for this category?
So mine is one, again, I'm not sure many people have played this, but Hayhoe, where you play these little beans with arms, and the point is to get to the other side of the level. You can have one player, you can have 4 players, and the multiplayer just... there's sorts of games where you're having trouble controlling it yourself, but when you tell someone to do something and they can't do it, you're like, well, I could have done that, even though you've been failing the entire time. Hayhoe is that. You just look at someone else doing something, you're like, why have you not just passed me the thing? So all you have to do is swing the characters to one end of the map to another, maybe collect a coin along the way. But it's so frustrating because it's just like, you're just gripping on for dear life, and you have to throw each other across the abyss, or you have to do like these, leap of faith movements. It's so much fun. It's a really fun game. But
it
if
sounds
you are,
like you can kill people easily.
it's more like you just miss grabbing someone, and someone's like, "Why didn't you catch me?" Or like things like that. It's wobbly but weirdly precise. So it's not like you've ever done anything wrong. The game is just a bit silly, but that's not what my partner thinks. It's a tough game to play with competitive people when you're just like, just throw me.
I would probably be tough to play with that.
It's really good though. It's really fun.
Are these kind of games like was Overcooked like the first one of those kind of games where you have to kind of on Switch play competitively? Because there's a few games like Moving Out and things like that. The Stretchers game as well that came out last year that you kind of have to play competitively. Was Overcooked the boom?
It definitely launched the genre into the hype, like the starlight a bit. I mean, I'm trying to think of anything that preceded it that did that well.
Yeah, I love Overcooked. I think that's the number one, like ruins friendships, ruins relationships.
100%. When you were just shouting at each other like, just get me the lettuce, and they're like, I don't know which one's the lettuce.
The neighbors next door are like, whoa, Jesus Christ, they're at a Barney. I don't know if it's cheating slightly, but because it's board games, party games, everyone ends up falling out over those. But I'm going to nominate Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classic.
That's fair.
Because I kind of think that game, it kind of, no matter if you're a gamer, if you're not, it kind of levels the playing field a bit for everyone. You don't need to be skilled to play those kind of things, and you don't have a certain advantage over everyone if you're naturally good at games. I've played that once kind of lockdown lifted. Had a few friends over been playing that, and it was really infuriating to play with people who don't play computer games, and then they're just really good at certain games.
It's like kind of Cake Bash similar in that it's a game you don't go into expecting it to ruin your friendships. Like Mario Kart or Smash, you're like, some grudges will be had, some grudges will be formed today. But when you go into Clubhouse Games, you're like, oh, let's just play some, board games. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
And suddenly you realize your friends are hustling you because they're secretly good at whatever.
Yeah. I had one friend, and just like every game was that he just beat me. I was just kind of, how about this game? Let's just play this game and let's just see if I can win. And I think eventually I beat him at the tank game. That was the one game I could like completely wipe the floor with him. But everything else, it was just like, God damn it!
Did you get to those ones at like 100% luck and he's still winning? You're like, how is this happening?
Yeah, exactly. Like Yahtzee or something. I don't understand, or yacht dice, whatever it's called. But it's like, I don't understand how you're winning. And there's a lot of seething anger underneath me. I didn't launch any like punches or anything, but after he left, I was like, this fucking guy.
He's gonna see this.
I had such a similar story where like me and a friend were so excited about the game coming out. We're like, we're gonna play loads, and then we just played a load of games, and he just beat me over and over. And I was like, all right, well, see ya. Yeah. Like it was it was like Hare and Hounds, especially. He was explaining it to me, and he was like, oh, this one's really fun. And I was like, is it? Because you're just handing it to me like over and over, and I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. And he was like, once you figure out, it's pretty simple. And I was like, cheers. I've
been that guy. I've been you in that situation many times.
It's definitely one of the, because there's so many games in it. It was so frustrating. It was like, surely I could be good at one of these games. Please let me be one again. And just never. I say my wife, she's like ridiculously good at all these games. It's horrible. After a while, she's like, no, let's just play a proper board game now. I've had enough of this.
That's me.
So what are we thinking? What's the standout here?
So having played it and knowing, and even in the short amount of time we played it, feeling how red hot people were starting to get, I'm gonna go with Cake Bash on this one. I think it's that's getting my vote.
This is one of the hard categories.
I think I would probably agree with Cake Bash as well. That was a really fun game, but immediately I was furious.
Yeah, like playing it alone, I was fine.
Yeah.
Playing it against people.
It was a lot more fun with other people.
We were on a Zoom chat. We weren't even on a video chat. We couldn't even see each other. We were so mad at each other.
But I could hear the temples popping.
All right, I think I'll just Cake Bash then.
I haven't played Cake Bash, but I kind of I really want to play it now.
Yeah,
even
we'll get
if
the
it
next
does-
one.
yeah.
Join our
And
hate.
with kids, it's actually a good idea if you have kids, because
Oh,
it's
awesome.
just like the most violent things are just like cakes stabbing other cakes, and
Sure,
it's like
sure, okay.
cartoon
Yeah.
violence that you would see on TV. So it's fine.
That's all right. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll just make my son watch it for hours on end until I win.
It's really cute.
I would back because I haven't played it. I'll back Ben. I'd say I like it's kind of left field, but yeah, 3D All Stars. There was so much debate around that game, and everyone was just like, "No, this one's better. You have to play this first. You have to do this." So I back Ben. But are we saying Cake Bash is the
We'll go with
winner?
Cake Bash.
I
Wow.
think so.
Amazing. I'm
Ruin
going to
our
download that
friendships.
after this podcast. I'm going to download that game. I need to.
Yeah, let's
Wow.
start playing. Let's each
Yeah.
other a little bit more.
Yeah, let's stop the
That'll-
podcast right now and start playing.
Yeah.
I can think of some better games for team building that
Yeah, I was going to
won't
say,
make
not for the
everyone
SP
kill each
team
other.
builder, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next award. Obviously, a game that does ruin a lot of friendships is Super Smash Brothers. We've seen a new DLC character revealed in the form of Sephiroth at the Game Awards. So Ben Ballbeck from our team, he suggested an award for the character that will never come to Smash Brothers, but should. So who are we thinking is a good fit for this?
Who are you going to?
Ben, go on, Ben.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's an interesting question that, because you were saying about how who would never be anymore, and I'm not even sure how to answer that anymore, because after they had Steve from Minecraft, I just don't know what's
It
off
kind
the
of
table
is a
now.
slippery slope,
You
right?
know,
Like
so-
who is never going to come to Smash Bros? I feel like anyone could at this point.
Exactly, unless it's like some franchise that really has absolutely nothing to do with Nintendo. But I've kind of taken them off the table. So I've gone with Ori for this, who I'd love to see. Mainly who I'd love to see, because I think potentially Ori may happen, to be honest, because the success and it's had on Switch, etc. But it's definitely the one I'm going to go for. Ori is a fantastic protagonist in general. The games are amazing, and the amount of moves that Ori has across the two games, especially in the second game, in Will of the Wisps, and the different attacks that he uses. And he's got an interesting shape. The way Ori moves around the map is linking to things, and he almost swims through the sky. It's a very interesting way of moving. And I don't play Smash, but I just think it'd be an interesting character to the roster, and I think it's slightly different. It's not another humanoid character, and I think it'd be wonderful to see Ori there.
Nice.
It's
Anna,
funny you say. I will definitely go next, and I want to say, you were saying like, what we were saying at the beginning. You're the only one that picked a non. Well, no, I don't. A lot of us pick Nintendo characters, stuff that's close to home, and I think that's interesting because we think, oh, anything's on the table. But then I feel like a lot of the stuff that's not on the table is the stuff that's been on the table and maybe they haven't dipped into, that seems like it would have been obvious. And like mine is one of those, like Paper Mario. You have Link and Toon Link. You have, different variations of characters. So why not a Paper Mario? Because Paper Mario, even though Dr. Mario's gone, right? I don't have Ultimate right now. There used to be a Dr. Mario though, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's in Ultimate.
He is in Ultimate. Well, see? And then you've got Paper Mario, and Paper Mario has different things you can do with him based on the games and the stories of the games, and they don't do as much with him as I think they should, even though maybe Origami King isn't the game everybody wanted. There's some stuff, especially from Origami King, that could be used in battle, like confetti or something. I don't know. So it could be an interesting idea. But shout out to also maybe like Tom Nook, even though it's not an official nomination. But my official nomination would be Paper Mario.
Honorable mention, Tom Nook.
Honorable mention, Tom Nook.
Nathan, what about you?
See, my honorable mention is generally always Professor Layton, because I've always wanted him in Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that before.
That'd be amazing.
I
I
bring
love
him up
that
all the
idea.
time, but he's just like level 5 are just kind of going down. It's just never going to happen. It's never going to happen. He doesn't
Yeah.
exist as like an IP anymore, really. So what I have gone for is someone that is hot, very hot, hot as hell. Zagreus from Hades.
This was so
Uh,
nearly my choice as well.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
I mean hot as in the zeitgeist, as well as oh boy, that game is sexy.
Yeah.
The first game
That
that's an
would be a-
aphrodisiac at the same time.
It's
It's
unbelievable.
a bargain.
Yeah.
Imagine, the dichotomy of seeing, Minecraft Steve, for example, his art style hasn't they left him as a blocky dude, and stuff like that, next to say, just like Solid Snake, right? Imagine that happening in the same way, if that makes sense. Having him in that art style with the thick lines and everything next to everybody. And so I don't know, it would be cool, even though he would just be a normal 3D character. But it would be cool if they carried the art style over a little bit and made him look, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be cool.
Yeah.
They were
You mean,
more
girl?
deep set a little bit with the shadows. Yes, okay.
Yeah, kind of like how they made the characters stand out in Smash Bros. For 3DS with the big black outlines.
Mhm.
That's a niche thing, but also the combat style would carry over. That would work incredibly. Just kind of dashing around the stage and then using the different powers, and
Yeah.
maybe with the Dragon Quest hero, you can choose which god you can get the power from. So you can you can have Aphrodite and you can get her powers or something like that, and maybe they pop up on the stage and give you kind of little helpful hints. And I think it would translate so well. There's so much. I can't believe there's one game and it's just overflowing with personality, with world building as well, things that we've known about for years, but they've created beloved characters out of something so renowned already. Man, that game is so special.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to go for the champions from Breath of the Wild, Age of Calamity.
I love that answer.
I think
Mhm.
it
I
could
love
happen,
that.
but it seems like recently they're kind of going for other franchises, games that maybe.
That's what I mean. It's
wouldn't quite
so
have
close
thought
to
of.
home, but they would have
Yeah.
done that by now.
But we just had Min Min. I don't think it's outside the realm.
Maybe yeah. So
I'd
so
love to get Urbosa specifically.
Yeah, well, I thought, I don't know if it'd be cool where you kind of, it's almost like that you can select the champions and you can maybe like Minecraft, you can go between Steve and Alex, maybe switch between them. And
Or
they
the
kind of think-
Pokemon. There's the
They're very
Pokemon trainers
different.
like that.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe but if you had all four at the same time with that guy, who knows? Maybe it's like they're gonna drip feed you one character after another. But I would just love to, because I had so much fun playing as them in Age of Calamity. I was like, I would love to play these characters in Smash. I don't know how they would do it,
Amazing.
how they would implement it, but it seems like an easy fit where it's like, it's not like Minecraft where they have to completely reinvent the wheel,
No.
have new levels, have all these different abilities.
There's all kinds of abilities you could throw in.
Yeah, but it would kind of fit within Smash Brothers. It wouldn't be too much work for them. So maybe the end one they'll throw that in and say, here you go. It's
Amazing.
wanted, but
Like Rivali having a really good jump and stuff.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You got you could roll around as Daruk.
See, I want Urbosa as my number one, but I think Daruk would be my second choice. I think he'd be so cool. I hope
Urbosa would just be badass, because no one's questioning that.
Yeah. I hope
Amazing.
if we do get a Nintendo character at the very end, though, and this is one I didn't include because I think it could happen. I hope just to shut people up as a mic drop, as Sakurai being like, "Leave me alone forever." He just does Waluigi.
Waluigi.
Like,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, he's
like-
gonna say Waluigi.
And he's
Yes.
like, "I'm never making another Smash Brothers. Leave me alone. I'm retiring on an island somewhere. This is it.
Yes.
Shut up."
I completely agree. And everyone I talk to is like, no, they're not going to do that if they have. I'm
I
like,
think he
that should be
could.
the last thing they do. I'm with you, Nathan.
Think
you and
of
are on
Waluigi
this.
as a bookend to Piranha Plant at the start of it.
Yeah.
I think, but such mental, long-established Nintendo characters, I think they'd be wonderful bookends
Yeah.
to the entire DLC.
Do you think it'd be like
That'd be
Ultimate
great.
Trolling, where it's just like he's really underpowered, like a terrible character?
And then it ends
They're
up
all
being
really
bad.
bad.
Yeah.
You wanted
it
him, you
ends
have
up
him.
being
Whoa.
the last
Oh.
character is from Mario, and you're like, yeah. And Toad. And you're like, fuck.
Uh,
No!
Oh my god, that'd be incredible.
It's Toad.
I'd love
Starman.
Captain
It's
Toad.
the Starman. That's it. It's
so
Roomba.
there was some very, very good choices there. But what is everyone thinking? I wish
These
I
are
could.
all
Yeah.
good. These are all good. I mean, my
They
original
are.
vote was going to be for Zagreus, right? And then I pulled away because I thought he was a bit too traditional in terms of being a big guy with, swords and stuff like that and just moving around the map. Then Nathan went and threw in that idea about how he could bring in powers from the different gods at different points, and maybe suddenly he's using water attacks or lightning attacks or stuff like that, depending. And I'm just totally seeing it now. I'm imagining it, like the god appearing in the corner and then just like chucking him some power, looking all sexy. And now I'm totally behind Zagreus. That's my vote. I think I was right there. Should have gone with gut instinct. Should have gone. No, I'm with Zag.
It's tough for me between Zag and the champions, but I think I'm gonna go with the champions because that idea makes me go, yes, I gotta buy Smash now.
I'm gonna stick with Zagreus because it's the one I want the most.
Oh no!
And I think the champions could and really possibly might happen, especially because that would be a really good way to build us up to Breath of the Wild 2. So
True.
I think they've got the biggest possibility on that list by a country mile.
Yeah, I don't want to be a dick and like pick my own one. And
No, do what you gotta do, man.
Ben Bulbeck specified it was they should come to Smash, but they probably won't. I like you say, the champions probably, I think they're pretty much, they're gonna come to Switch at some point, and they're going hopefully. So I've never played Hades, but I feel really excited by new characters, new kind of new characters introduced, like you wouldn't ever think of, and get you excited to play Smash again. So I'm gonna say Zagreus as well. Yeah, sounds very good.
That's a good answer.
Nice. Well, thinking about it, honestly, I think after the success that Hades has had and the impact, it's not beyond the actual realms of possibility. They could do that. They could come out with that one. Maybe.
Oh God, that would be impressive.
Yeah.
To see Nintendo like really courting an indie like that. I mean, everyone would be like, "Why didn't you do Shovel Knight or something?" But I don't think Shovel Knight would be much more than like a joke character. I don't think there's a way to do that would be really fun. Whereas Zagreus is so quick, and it would add so much.
And no one picked a Fortnite character like Agent Jones. No one said. Because I kind of feel like that would maybe be the next progression. Like we could have Minecraft. That's a huge kind of gaming phenomenon. I thought they would maybe go Fortnite. Maybe that will come eventually.
I'm not against it. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, I don't want Fortnite in my Smash Brothers. It's the biggest game in the world, probably after Minecraft. The only problem I would have is I think it would be so similar to Minecraft, not only in the building mechanics, which are essential to separate Fortnite, but also in that moment of like, I can't believe they put this in Smash Brothers. I think they're too similar in impact and mechanic.
It'll be quite a mic drop to all the characters switch over. So Jones comes to Smash Brothers, and all the Smash Brothers characters go.
That's it, all at once. Just a massive battle royale in a different way.
It'd be absolutely incredible.
Be crazy.
If they were all skins, that would bankrupt me.
Yeah, Nintendo, if you want to make some money, So let's move on. To the most improved series and franchise. So sometimes the game comes out, doesn't quite stick the landing, but subsequent sequels that can improve and refine the ideas and gameplay, and actually move the series forward. So with that in mind, this is the most improved series or franchise award. What are we going for, Ben? What's your nominee for this?
I went kind of selfless on this one because I haven't played the original and I haven't played the sequel either. But I think I'm working this on just the recognition of the impact it's had, and that is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity is my vote for this one. The original game I think did okay, and I think people enjoyed it to a degree. But I mean the impact that this new one has had, Age of Calamity, on fans of both the Hyrule Warriors of the Warriors series, and particularly Hyrule Warriors series, and also Breath of the Wild as well. It seems to have created some kind of perfect storm where everybody's just loving it.
Yeah, well, we talked about it extensively here. It's like a perfect mesh of Zelda, and it's the two perfectly mixed in so many ways.
Exactly, and I don't particularly like the Warriors games very much. They don't work for me, but I've got to recognize what is working for so many people. And while we've been running our Game of the Year awards for Switch Player, the actual ones that we'll be working on for the end of the year, there are a lot of votes coming in for Age of Calamity for a number of different categories, which really threw me. You know, I wasn't expecting quite the amount of support that it has. People love it. People love this game. And I think they must have done something pretty special to it in terms of storyline. I mean, it's up there in, you know, in top storyline votes and stuff like that. People love it in so many different ways. I think they've really improved on whatever it was before to whatever it is now. That's my vote.
Yeah, I could have, because I would have never touched the Dynasty Warriors game, or I never kind of like was that interested by the original Hyrule Warriors, but because it was Breath of the Wild prequel, that sold me. I wanted to play for the story, and playing the demo, absolutely loved it. So I think that's a very good pick.
It is.
Agreed.
Anna, can you beat that?
I don't know.
Ben's just throwing down the corner there, just like
I'm out.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see if I can pick up the mic and then drop it again. I said I would bring up Pikmin 3 again, because I feel like, so we played Pikmin 3 on Wii U. Some of us didn't maybe. Whether you did or didn't, I can tell you that Pikmin 3 Deluxe is the Deluxe. It's like it doesn't use Deluxe lightly, because it has the co-op edition, which is the major improvement. You can now play co-op through the entire storyline, which I said, again, you might want to replay in a different difficulty. So you might play it and go, I want to play this on easy with my kid or something. You can just have someone playing and throwing Pikmin around, and you know, it's a gleeful experience to play with someone else, and actually it can help you if you're playing seriously like I do. It actually enhances the entire experience, because then you're not throwing two AIs around, you're only throwing one AI around, because there's two human players instead of you have three captains. So it's wonderful. And then you have all of the things together. The DLC is there, all of the side missions, you want to get platinum medals and everything. It did a lot. And there's also a couple quality of life changes as well, with hints and stuff, like minor little quality of life / accessibility things to make it easier for other players, or harder for people who maybe found it too short and easy.
Interesting. So second nomination for Pikmin 3. Nathan, what are you thinking?
So I went with Pokemon Sword and Shield, specifically the Crown Tundra DLC, because I was woefully disappointed with Sword and Shield, but they're also mechanically very good games because they're Pokemon games. I gave it a 3 out of 5, which is not the score you want to see for a brand new Pokemon game and the first one on consoles. But the Crown Tundra DLC improves so much on the base game and the Isle of Armor DLC. It adds in interesting story elements. It adds in interactive story elements with the legendaries. It adds great new legendaries and the Galarian variants of the original birds, which are some of the best designed Pokemon we've had in years. And then it kind of adds a lot of new features like the raid dens, which you can play with friends. And it's a good way to kind of like shiny farm legendaries and stuff like. And even the wild area as well is so improved. It's much more dynamic, whereas the original wild area was quite flat. It was very monotone in color as well, and Pokemon just
copy-pasted assets.
Yeah, the Pokemon just popped up and they were just there, like, this is just where I live.
It's awful.
Whereas the new one is a lot more vertical. There's a lot more kind of scale to it, and you can kind of see Pokemon kind of moving around a bit more, and they make more sense within the space of where they are, not just like, I pop up here. There's a lot more interaction. There seems to be a lot more thought put into the placing of things in both like the environment and the Pokemon, but also the story elements, because some of the story elements demand you go around and explore certain areas. And the Galarian birds, so Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres, all have these incredible new forms. They make you go back, they're roaming Pokemon, and they make you go back and not only search the Crown Tundra, but also the other areas of the map, the old areas. So suddenly, the old areas of the map actually have interesting new Pokemon going around, and it gives you a good reason to explore these things. So not only did it improve, but it retroactively improved things I had a problem with. I hope the next Pokemon games are that good from the beginning, and I don't have to pay a premium to get them that good. But I was so impressed with the turnaround, and clearly Game Freak just needed a bit of time to get the Pokemon games up to where they were. So I'm the Crown Tundra is my favorite bit of Pokemon in years, and I'm really, really happy it exists.
Nice. I think we made it 45 minutes before talking about Pokemon, which is probably a record for this podcast.
And this was in context. This wasn't just a rant.
Which is good, which is very good. See, everyone talking about like the Pokemon DLC, because I stopped playing that game after about 20 hours. It kind of makes me want to kind of pick it back up again and maybe buy that DLC, because it seems like it does improve on the original game and what it should have been, really.
Yeah.
I
honestly would if I wasn't boycotting it.
Exactly. I'm going to nominate. So I don't know if this is a cheating again, but Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. So I pre-ordered it when it was announced in the Mario Anniversary Direct. Then I kind of cancelled it. I was like, not worth the money. But then my friend bought it, and it sounds very middle class, but he's having his kitchen extended, and so it's an empty shell at the moment. And basically, he bought Mario Kart Live Home Circuit and set up a circuit around his new extended kitchen. It was absolutely incredible. Now I need to have it. I can't live without it. I sleepless nights. I need to buy this game. So I know you can't improve. I don't know if it's cheating, because I don't know if you can improve Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But this, just bringing it into the real world, was like, that's such a brilliant idea. How comes this has never been realized, done before?
Yeah.
So I'm just playing it. I don't know if it's when you watch trailers, you're like, it doesn't look that great. But playing it, you're like, this is incredible. This is what I want.
There it is. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe not improving the franchise, but moving the franchise forward. I definitely think Live Home Circuit is just the way to go for Mario Kart. I just absolutely loved it, and I need to buy it. I've already ordered it on Amazon. I'm not even waiting for Christmas.
Fair.
Is it interesting? Is it interesting suggestions going around here? Yeah. I wouldn't have seen that one coming, but that's actually.
I mean, it's definitely better than Mario Kart Tour, so it is an improvement on the last entry.
Yes, maybe we'll say that.
If you think of it that way, it's the biggest improvement between any games ever, because Tour is terrible.
See, no arguments, everybody agrees.
It's a game of higher or lower, like Mario Kart 8, Tour, Live. Yeah, it's improved. Yeah.
There's only one way.
A brand new car.
So are there any standouts there? Has anyone kind of have been swayed from their own opinion?
Age of Calamity, for me.
Age of Calamity.
Stand out.
I'm going to jump ahead and say Age of Calamity as well. I think definitely, again, I would have never played a Dynasty Warriors game, but as soon as this came out, as soon as I was like, I have to play it. And I don't know if it has improved, but it got me playing that series, and I probably will play another one of those games again.
It's so much better than the original Hyrule Warriors. It's so
good. And it seems to have demonstrated that, I think, just from the reception that it's had, is that this isn't a cash in or a gentle mix of them. It's something really well thought out. They put effort into this one, it seems.
Yeah, I'll give you guys that one, because it also it's immersive in like every single way. Like, people go, oh my god, it's the map, look. Like, people love everything about it. And it's so different. I did play the original Hyrule Warriors on Wii U, and I can tell you, from that experience to what I experienced in the demo, whoa. I'll agree with you on Age of Calamity.
So is that a clean sweep for Age of Calamity? Benny, have you voting for your nominee?
No, I'm voting for I'll vote for Age of Calamity. I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that unanimous.
So
that's awesome.
That's the W.
That's the first category that's been a clean sweep. Age of Calamity absolutely won that game.
Most improved.
Most improved. So good. So let's move on to the. This is inspired by the update that finally allowed us to share photos on social rather than going through all those ridiculous steps. This is the Nintendo Please Give Us This Feature, We Are Begging You award. So what features are we dying for from the Nintendo Switch that we haven't got already? Ben, what you saying?
Yeah. I mean, my one's quite a selfish one, really, because it's just my love of the era. And to be honest, I'm really interested in what other people are going to say this, because I don't have many problems with the Switch. There's not a lot that that screams out to me that needs to be there, but I don't think too heavily about that stuff. I deal with what I've got, and then I'm just happy with it generally. The thing I really want to see is I love the Nintendo Switch Online library of NES and SNES games. I think they're absolutely wonderful. I love flicking on those. The introduction of like Donkey Kong, and especially Donkey Kong 2, it's incredible. I want to see an N64 library on there. And that is my big ask for them to do that.
I
And
think they would charge a premium for that.
Yeah, but I don't mind. I don't mind. That's okay. Charge a premium, improve the online service. I'm all up for that because the online service is a little bit sucky. I think we can all accept that, right? And it would be nice to have the quality of the online service improved. Get an N64 library of games on there, really up it, and I'd be very happy with that.
Hey, imagine because they've added online to a couple of games. Imagine some of those games improved with online, like GoldenEye 64 or Pokemon Stadium,
Oh my gosh, GoldenEye with actual joining of games across the internet. I mean,
I love that.
I'd be like, take my money, just I
don't know,
whatever it costs.
I don't know if I can go back to Mario 64, but that'd be interesting if it had online or something. But yeah,
GoldenEye 64, you mean?
No, Mario Kart 64 as well.
Mario Kart 64.
Absolutely. I don't know if I could take that step backwards nowadays. Whereas I think GoldenEye, it's janky, and I could play it fine.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe they're holding that back? They're maybe looking at the 64 back catalogue and going like, what can we release as a collection?
Banjo's on Game Pass.
Oh, please. Please, those games. I think Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie are both better than Mario 64, but
they're great games.
Don't ruin any more friendships.
And I love Mario 64. It's one of the best games ever made.
No, Banjo-Kazooie
Banjo games are so special.
Yeah,
it's a different experience. It's almost apples and oranges, but not quite. But they're so different. But I don't know. That's a different argument.
See the passion is inspired already.
Exactly.
64 library. What ones are going to be there?
Yeah, it's true. It's a good answer, Ben. It's not selfish.
Exactly. Anna, what are you saying? What's your nominee?
I will miss all of the me stuff. It's kind of a vague answer. I miss the me stuff. I miss going around with my DS. I used to take my Switch everywhere back when I went places. Anyway, my 3DS, was always flashing green. Open it up. I can, I have my cute little me on my Switch, but that's it. Like, she doesn't do anything. I can't make other goofy looking ones. I can't play mini games with people's Mii's. I liked that stuff. I especially liked the stuff on the Wii, which we'll never get back. That's fine. I loved the check me out and all that. I loved it. I loved it. I wanted Tinder swipe on people's bad Naruto Mii's and stuff. Give it to me. MII. Give it to me. They won't.
I think so many of those little apps that had so much personality, like PictoChat, like NotePass, I
love PictoChat.
things like that. And Miiverse to a different extent. The Switch.
Miiverse, yeah.
The Switch is a really lean, quick OS, and it is a gaming machine, but it does feel like at the cost of Nintendo's personality sometimes.
Yeah.
Was the Miiverse the thing on the Wii? Was that the thing where the little... Yeah, the little...
Yeah, Miiverse is Wii U. It was
what
so
was the
cool.
thing on the Wii where the little people wandered around all the time? And
that was Mi Plaza.
Mi Plaza, yeah. It was like a parade.
I love that. I didn't understand it or why it was there, but I loved it.
That was the Wii. That was every app on the Wii. The Everybody Votes channel. You're like, what?
Yeah, what was...
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
It's like Coke or Pepsi.
I don't know what, but I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Oh
just doing anything online on the Nintendo console, you're like, this is incredible. No, I'm not begging for it, but Anna kind of reminded me of Street Pass. I would love kind of the 3DS. I would love that functionality in a Switch. Just
that's what that's one of the ones I was thinking of. I loved
that.
That's what I mean when I said my DS was always flashing green.
Yeah, it was really exciting, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, what puzzle piece did they have? And now I can use them to help rescue my person.
I love getting those little puzzles, and you get the 3D image.
I love that stuff, and it's just going obsolete now, and it's I miss that. Why not put that on the Switch? The Switch is only halfway. Well, now it's whatever the next console is. Let's do it. It's too late for the Switch. Whatever the next console is, I want me personality. or bust. I'll still buy your console. I'll buy anything you put up Nintendo. I will, but I want it.
The Switch Pro could have it.
I don't know because it would have to be. I don't know. I'd be skeptical, but that would be great. I'd love it.
So Nathan, what's yours? You told me already, and I'm kind of behind it. But...
Mine slightly ties into Ben's because I want backwards compatibility. Like I want to get the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance games. Like and I'd love to be able to play like the old Pokemon games with online and stuff like that. But one thing that I think would have to happen for some of those is second screen support.
Yeah.
So like with the Wii U, I think we would have to have some way of having another screen, whether that is a new controller for the Switch that is like a Wii U controller, but something adapted, a clip like you get with the 8-bit do controllers, like the xCloud ones, where you can clip your phone on because your phone would be perfectly fine for a lot of the touchscreen stuff, or even a Switch dock that's just a wireless receiver, so you use the actual Switch as a second screen. I'd be super intrigued to see some of this, or just a way of adapting, because if not, we're going to lose a lot of incredible games if there's no way of preserving them. Like the DS catalog is one of the best ever made. Like it's unbelievable, and so many of those are intrinsically tied to having two screens. So like a lot of the WarioWare stuff on WarioWare Touch is so funny,
Professor
so
Layton.
smart. Professor Layton, exactly. And then like the 3DS did it to a lesser extent, but like the ports of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask work so well with the map on the second screen with inventory management. And the convenience of inventory management was something that we saw on the HD remake of Wind Waker with the second screen. That is so much fun just to have your pocket there and be like, okay, no, I need the hook shot and stuff like that. To me, those games, when I remember them, and Kid Icarus works so well with that pointer-esque touchscreen control.
I brought that up recently. More people need to play that one.
I would be so happy if we got Kid Icarus HD on the Switch. It deserves it. That game's incredible.
Honorable mention for port this already.
Yeah.
Which is coming up.
But yeah, I'd like to see second screen support because I'd like to see the option for a lot of things. Or, it could maybe add like second screen support for big games. Like, we spoke before how there was apps released along games for a little while, like Red Dead Redemption. You could download an app on your phone and it was the map and it worked wirelessly. Imagine having your iPad and it's the Breath of the Wild map or something like that. Or, it's... maybe you can use your phone as the screen or the viewfinder in new Pokemon Snap, similar to the Google, like the Wii U controller had like a camera. There's so many things you could do, and I just think it's such a fun Nintendo thing. And everyone has a smart device that can be a camera or an app, and we've got a Nintendo Online app, so I think it's very possible. Like, I wish. This is another tangent as well, kind of, but like in Animal Crossing, you have a Nook phone and I have a phone with a Nintendo app with Animal Crossing on there, like, and they've kind of getting there where you can now look at you can look at your catalog and stuff. Like
you can emote, which is cool for taking videos.
Yeah, like I'd love it if I could just use the functionality of that phone on my phone quicker, like stuff like that would be really cool.
Interesting, yeah. I kind of feel that that's too far flung, because like if they can't even kind of get their app to work properly, they can't even do things with the app. How are they going to do second screen support?
Yeah, this is.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Which is kind of what I'm kind of throwing voice chat into the nominees, because it's 2020.
Sorry, what year is it?
Yeah, I can't believe this. We don't know. Fortnite could implement it in a Nintendo game. Why can't Nintendo do it for their games? I kind of feel like Animal Crossing needs voice chat. I would love to have voice chat in Animal Crossing rather than trying to type out messages. With your friends. Exactly, yeah. Because it like, I don't know if you've seen some of the recent adverts with like Brie Larson, but she's playing like Animal Crossing, talking
with
to
her
friend.
sister.
Yeah, with like, isn't she like using Skype or something?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why do you need a second screen to be playing?
Yeah, she's like FaceTiming with her sister and playing Animal Crossing.
Also, Nintendo putting that in the trailer, like, we absolutely know you cannot voice chat Animal Crossing. You're gonna have to have like Discord open.
You'll need to open your laptop and like log in and like tell your friend, log on to Zoom, log on to like House.
Yeah, I've already seen that pop up on the Nook phone when I'm online with people. It says, "Oh, you can voice chat," but I've never tried it.
Yeah, just on your actual Switch though, you could just plug in headphones like
You
a
should,
window.
You should be able to.
Just be
You
able
should
to.
be able to do
Nothing
that. Yeah.
You know, it feels like laziness at this point, doesn't it? It doesn't.
Yeah.
There's no real reason why this
Yeah,
doesn't.
But then
exist.
when you bring that up, you'd have to say, well, before they do that, they have to fix the online in general and not make me wait like a minute or two for people to arrive on my island. But that's a
say
whole nother
too many
conversation.
things. Oh my god, not Nintendo being held accountable.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
It just
not
feels
a
like
solid product.
Yeah, they just feel like they're being like so stubborn and they refuse to move with the times.
Like
Yeah.
Pokemon, it was either Black and White or even as far back as like Diamond and Pearl, where you could battle and you could chat with people. You didn't even need headphones. It worked with the speakers and the microphone. Like this is the DS, and it was in a children's game as well.
I'm trying to remember.
So-
I think it was as early as Diamond and Pearl because
was
I
something
remember
like
doing
that.
that with my cousin. Like we were really young, and we were playing with Garchomp and stuff like that. I think it was Diamond and Pearl.
It's like you've had these systems in place for years. There's literally no excuse. And like you said, Fortnite has it built in with a third-party voice chat. Overwatch has the same thing. Like I'd love to play Splatoon with voice chat or something. Like,
and it's so jarring going from another console. You play like Series X and like PlayStation 4, and that's just it's all inbuilt, and then suddenly you're kind of like, can you like if we were playing Splatoon, go on the app and like let's voice chat on the app. It's just like absolutely ridiculous that you have to kind of do that.
mm-hmm.
So I would throw that. But so what's the strong contender in this category? Do you think?
Seems like a lot of us have things to say about all of them.
Yeah. It
So
seems like
this is the hardest
Right,
one for
everywhere.
me because I believe in mine, but I believe in all of yours like equally.
I'd say Ben's like Nintendo 64. Because that was one of my first consoles. I would absolutely love to play those games again. I would die to play those games. That's the one thing I'd need over voice chat. Even I would love to play 64 games again.
I think considering Ben mentioned like a slightly more premium service, because like it's cheap as chips at the moment, which isn't something I asked for a bad service.
No,
so whenever someone's like, "Oh, it's really cheap," it's like I didn't want that. Like, don't serve me crap and say it was only 50p. Like,
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
Like I'm happy to pay for a premium online service. So I'm going to agree with you and say like if they add another tier and they're like, okay, now you get Game Boy Advance, N64, and you pay £10 a year extra or something. Like, I would be so happy with that.
I think everyone would be. I think we have a winner.
Yeah, I guess that's cheating a bit because that wasn't really my suggestion, but it came off my suggestion. So I say that's everybody's win.
Yeah,
is that a premium service is what we need in place. To support a number of these other things. Because if we had a premium service, we might start getting a lot of this other stuff. But if we had a premium service, we might get proper voice chat. But you'd have to. So
I think it just expanded NSO is a good way to put that.
Yeah.
Okay, so undefined winner, but Nintendo 64 combined with...
It's the seed that would grow into the beautiful plant, the beautiful tree that is NSO.
Yes, exactly.
So we've got 2 awards left. The penultimate one, we've seen some big games out this year. Animal Crossing New Horizons, Age of Calamity, Mario 3D All-Stars, all been mentioned in this podcast. But let's face it, sometimes like these games hog the limelight and some hidden gems kind of fall through the cracks. So let's talk about the hidden gem of 2020. What are you highlighting that people should play that they maybe passed them by?
Yeah.
Ben, what are you saying?
Yeah. So this was a really hard one because I've played some corking games this year. One of the joys of writing a Switch player is you get to play some games, and throughout a year you're surprised by so many, and that's wonderful. Had to land on one. There's one that really impressed me this year, and it's called Alwa's Legacy. And it's actually a sequel to an even lesser known game called Alwa's Awakening, but it has improved on it in every way. It's a stunningly well-made Metroidvania. It's not massive, it's not sprawling, but you're talking a good 7 or 8 hour game. And beautiful, visually beautiful. It's got amazing pixel art. It's got the color palettes it uses. There are like sunsets on this thing. I mean, this is a really modestly made indie game, but there's got these beautiful purple and orange sunsets and all these amazing things. The soundtrack, I mean, the soundtrack is just this stunning chiptune soundtrack that they've just, every area, every biome feels completely unique and supports it well. It's just one I wish more people have played. You know, it's the good thing about it is that it released on PC and maybe other platforms as well, and sold like nothing. And then it released on Switch, and it actually sold more on Switch in like 3 weeks than it sold in its lifetime on PC.
Wow.
So it's one of those examples where the Switch was the right place for it, and at least it picked up some go, which is lovely to see. But still, not enough people know Owl's legacy.
It looks cool.
Yeah, it was a great. I was fortunate enough to review it, and it was just one of those like little revelations. A beautiful game. Owl's Legacy.
This kind of feels like the short and sweet award, where it's like, you know, games you wouldn't necessarily hear about or come across, but and I kind of feel like the eShop's a bit of a mess where you have to kind of like constantly scroll through and try and find things, and you can't rely on that infrastructure to find good games. You have to kind of go elsewhere.
Yeah, they'll push the big ticket ones.
You have to read Switch Player. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Switch Player.
If only there was a magazine.
You have to watch this podcast.
You specifically have to be a Patreon.
Yeah. Available in all good Patreons near you.
And you specifically have to like all our videos, or else you won't retain the knowledge.
Exactly. So Anna, what are you saying is your hidden gem of 2020?
Remember, if you don't like the video, you won't remember this. No Straight Roads is going to be my pick. I wasn't really expecting too much of it. And then I feel like nobody knows about it. And I feel like it had a lot of hype when it came out, so I thought more people would know about it. But basically, it's optionally co-op. You're playing as these two musicians in rhythm-based battles. The soundtrack is amazing. And while the overworld I felt was very empty, I did review this for Switch Player. Sometimes I get confused, like, who did I review this for? I found the overworld a little empty and stuff, like a little half-assed, but the bosses and the boss fights are just so worth it. If you consider the game a boss rush and you just like kind of gloss past the mid segments, it's so fun, and I highly recommend it. Get a friend, you guys can bash them together, and you'll probably end up going on Spotify and looking up the soundtrack.
Okay. And Nathan, what anything to top that?
So I've gone for one that apparently just no one's heard of, even though I kind of saw a lot of critical acclaim when it came out. So it came out at the start of the year. This game called In Other Waters. And it is a text-based adventure game where you play as the AI helping an explorer, marine biologist, discover the ocean on an alien planet.
Oh, cool.
So she tells you where she wants to go, and you kind of help her explore and map everything. And you map the different oceans, you discover creatures, and you scan for creatures, and you kind of... you use the direction of her to explore this alien planet and kind of put together the pieces of a puzzle that gets really interestingly and engagingly teased to you, as well as this wonderful feeling of discovery as you do kind of, and you only ever see kind of like a cartography map, but you see also the UI of you as the computer exploring it. And a lot of things get added or changed, and you are basically controlling the dials of, the depth and air pressure and like, it's been a while since I played it, so it might not be air pressure, but I remember it being very, very interesting, the actual controls you had of it. And it just couples this with this beautiful coloring of kind of pale blue, like teal and yellow color scheme. Really slow, meditative music, like it's, but still very like beautiful and wondrous. It's one of the most impactful games I think I've ever played, and I really want more people to even know about it, let alone play it. It's really, really wonderful.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, cool. I kind of feel like it's going to be a really hard category because I guess all of us haven't played these games, so it's going to almost be kind of like what you want to play out of this category. I'm going to throw in there Hypercharged Unbox, which kind of came out at the start of 2020. In a time when you could have people around your houses, when you could play together in your front living room and not have to socially distance or worry about respiratory diseases. But basically all you need to know about this game is it's like Toy Story with guns. It's set in kind of like kids' bedrooms, laundry rooms, and you're kind of little toy soldiers jumping around.
Is it like a party game or?
It's like a first-person shooter, and you can it's co-op, so split screen co-op, so you can sit with like friends, and you've got to shoot waves, like kill waves of enemies that are trying to attack towers, defense towers in certain like different rooms of the house. You can jump around and kind of collect collectibles and new weapons. And it's not going to change your life. It's not like a life-changing game, but it's so much fun to play with friends or quick blasts of mayhem. And it's kind of that game I kind of, throughout 2020, found myself kept going back to playing. I was like, oh, I really fancy, I've got 10 minutes spare. I really fancy a blast of this game. And I never ever heard anyone else talk about it. I used to play, my friend Pat, we used to play Call of Duty Zombies. We used to kind of have like whiskey coffees and play that for hours on end. And this is like a natural like
great.
It
What
was
a
so good, yeah.
combination.
But towards the end, after you had a few whiskey coffees, the shooting was all off, like stormtrooper aim, just like spraying. But this was like a natural progression. We kind of like we fell into this game and absolutely loved it. And just January was just like filled with like every weekend you come around my house and we just play this game. So that's what I'm putting forward for Hidden Gem.
This is a hard one.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like everyone's kind of sold their game really well.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, I would like to play that. Yeah, oh yeah.
There's
sure.
only one besides mine that sticks out, and I can't decide if it's hard to tell if I'd like it better than mine. But Nathan's In Other Waters kind of stuck out to me. I'm very intrigued by that, but I haven't played it. And I did really enjoy the soundtrack and stuff on
Yeah, this is hard.
Is anyone surely going to deviate from their answer?
I'm gonna stick to my guns because I really want more people to know about this game. I didn't review it for Switch Play. I reviewed it for Nintendo Village, but it's one of the only 5 stars I've ever given. I think it's a really, really standout game that deserves more attention.
Well, it piqued my interest, so I'll change my answer to, or I'll put my vote behind In Other Waters, even though No Straight Roads. I also think people should look at it, but I'll go with In Other Waters on this. I'm
gonna abandon Hypercharged and go for No Straight Roads because that sounds like my kind of jam. I like the sound of that game. That's the one that kind of really piqued my interest. I'm gonna go with that. So Ben, you've got the decider.
I know, but I don't know if Anna realizes I've actually reviewed No Straight Roads, and it's funny that you say it was one you weren't expecting, and then it was like a hidden gem for you, or like, because for me, I was really hyped for it, and it was very nearly my biggest disappointment of the year.
I think that's why I liked it, because I wasn't hyped for it.
Oh, right, okay.
Your disappointment.
Yeah, contrary.
I thought I was gonna hate it, and I actually ended up kind of liking it. And maybe you thought you were gonna like love it. And
I did.
Like, oh.
I saw this at EGX, and I was fiddling around with it, and I was really looking forward to it. And what I ended up with, I was.
You can tell where they were going with it. There is some stuff that's like half realized.
It was a half-baked game.
It's a little half-baked. It's just like I was expecting it to be a bad game, and it wasn't bad.
I get that.
And I was like, the soundtrack is so slapping.
Yeah,
it's so good, but that's funny. I forgot you reviewed that.
Yeah, I did. I reviewed it for Nearly Fresh. Yeah, so on that basis, honestly, totally, Nathan's game has intrigued me. In fact, I think I have seen that because I think you know how you said there's like cartography and you don't see anything much going on as you go through it. I'm sure I've seen screens of that, and I even thought back then that looked really interesting, but I haven't played it. And now you just reminded me.
I was like, I need
to. I definitely need to make sure I go find that. So I'm going to back Nathan on that one as well.
I think unless someone explains the appeal of it, it could look so boring. I think that's maybe what it struggled with. But it's, like I said, it was so engaging and so meditative for me. Once I got into it, I couldn't stop exploring, and you kind of interact with that explorer. I highly recommend people check out.
So we're saying In Other Waters, pretty much clear, almost unanimous, but clear winner of the Hidden Gems Award. So finally, we've had some great ports and some bad ports come to the Switch over the years, and great ports especially this year. But there's still some glaring omissions that are on other consoles that would make great additions to the Switch library. So we're calling this the Just Fucking Port This to Switch Already award. What are our nominees? Ben, what are you putting forward?
So I answered. This was at the top of the list of questions. So I answered this first, just like, man, what? And then you put it at the end, like it's the big one. All right. So, but I still stand by this. Okay. So I'm a huge fan of this series. It's like my favorite games of all time. Certainly up there, my favorite games of all time. I want to see a Max Payne trilogy port to the Switch. Now, Max Payne is not a game you'd expect to see there, but there's absolutely no reason it shouldn't be there. And if not a trilogy, at least the first two, because there's sort of the two together, and there's a third which followed up years later, which still continues the story, still the same voice actor, still the same quality, but a very different style of game. But these were like the first games that introduced bullet time mechanics, and they introduced them flawlessly. And the writing is just unbelievably good in Max Payne. It's heartbreaking, and it's funny in a really dark way. It's done with like a comic book noir style of storytelling. And it's brutal, and it's just an amazing game. And I guess what I'm really getting at here is probably a wider request, which is to start looking at back catalogs of other game series, and what can be brought over. That's available on everything, and people still play Max Payne. People play a lot of these game series, so it's really looking at a whole. But really, Max Payne for me, I'd love to see it on Switch.
It's on iPad as well, isn't it? It's like you could play it on the iPad.
Right.
How can you not play it on Switch?
Exactly. Yeah. Introduce a whole new group of people, whole new demographic to the Max Payne games.
Definitely playing trying to play bullet time on iPad was just the worst. I think I played years ago. It was terrible. It was really bad. Anna, what are you saying? What's the one you really want ported to Switch?
So it's kind of selfish, and I've talked about this before. I mean, it's not selfish because I'm sure people would agree with me, but I know Ocarina and Majora's Mask already got remakes on 3DS, and before that on the GameCube. But hear me out. Put it on the Switch. That's it. That's my point. That's my argument. Put it on the Switch.
That's the pitch.
But I want to give an honorable mention. I did mention Kid Icarus, which Uprising, which would be cool. I didn't think of it, but while we were talking in the beginning, it kind of popped up in my head, is I'd love to see the Fallout games on the Switch. But I'm gonna keep that's like honorable mention. I'm gonna keep my official answers: Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Let's see those. Why not put both? They're the same in terms of capabilities. Put them both together. Put them on the Switch. Make Mama happy.
Nice.
I kind of feel like that's cheating a bit because those games are incredible. Of course, we want those on the Switch.
It's so many of my answers are so basic. They're so basic, but I don't know. It's true.
We're also like next year is Zelda's 35th anniversary, like Mario's. So like that's going to come true within probably 6 months.
We'll see it. Yeah.
I actually really like some of the answers we're about to hear, though, so I might get swayed.
So Nathan, how are you going to sway Anna?
Okay, so right, when we speak about like Game of the Year nominees over the years, some of the best video games ever made, but also games that feel almost Nintendo and feel suited to the Switch. Imagine a game that would have really good motion controls. The Switch controllers are blue and red, and you could have like pointer controls. Imagine Portal 2 on the Nintendo Switch. Right, the amount of fun in that game, it feels like a Nintendo game.
It feels so good.
It's PS3, so like the port could be flawless. Add Switch motion controls, and like I said, like the main blasters are like a blue and a red one. It like the portals. How has no one been like, well, obviously put Portal 2 on the Switch, obviously, like, but then there's an argument for the orange box if you're doing that as well, but specifically Portal 2 is the biggest omission because that is one of the most fun non-Nintendo gaming experiences I've ever had in my life.
Completely agree. Yeah,
it does kind of feel like a no-brainer, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, it does.
I'm gonna say, sorry.
No, all I was going to reiterate was it just feels like such a perfect fit. It feels so silly.
Yeah, like I say, pointer controls as well. That'd be so much fun. Really good fun. I'm gonna say because it's literally on every other console. Grand Theft Auto 5.
Completely agree as well.
It's we've had like The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
So many like open world games ported to Switch. I don't understand. And we've got Grand Theft Auto 5 is coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X. How are they ignoring the Switch? Why are they ignoring the Switch?
I can think of one reason.
Yeah, I played it on the Xbox 360. Which is crazy.
I think that it's not capabilities. I think if I'm playing the devil's advocate, you say name a reason. Could be the content.
Maybe, is it a little far out of their remit? Maybe
it could be a little far out of what Nintendo.
New ground, but are they quite a GTA 5 territory yet?
You can like create blood fountains of people by shooting them in the head and stuff. I don't know, but you can do that in No More Heroes. So
we don't remember GTA Chinatown Wars, the Nintendo DS exclusive for a bit.
True that. See, I'm playing the devil's advocate, and there we go.
It just feels like they
why not?
It feels like they're keeping. I heard the rumors like they're keeping Grand Theft Auto 5 going because it generates so much money. So I don't understand why Rockstar wouldn't want to open up another revenue stream of like Nintendo Switch players.
Maybe it is because they won't be able to have GTA Online on the Switch. Maybe for them GTA isn't the moneymaker anymore. The online is.
Yeah. But that's the one game. We said before, a lot of ports. Like Doom Eternal, when they come to Switch, they're 40, 50 quid, like $60. I wouldn't want to pay that to play that game where I can play it elsewhere on Game Pass.
I was just about to say with GTA 5, and I've said this about other games. I think Doom is what I said. We were talking about Doom Eternal, like why buy it on the Switch? If you're a Switch owner, sure, you might like this game and you might like the idea of playing it on your Switch, but at the end of the day, if you're a person who's a fan of Doom Eternal, or in this case, GTA 5, you probably already have a PC or an Xbox or a PlayStation. Just demographic-wise, you probably already have at least a PC.
I'll tell you what, though. They'd be very good ports of Vice City or San Andreas if they brought those over.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. They
and so good, Chinatown Wars. Put Chinatown Wars on my Switch, please.
Maybe a Grand Theft Auto collection. Like
Liberty City Stories. Get the whole thing going on.
The PSP ones.
Throw them all together.
That's the reason I bought a PSP was for Liberty City Stories. It's like being able to play on the go was like a massive sell for me.
And they ported Chinatown Wars, sorry to go on, to PSP and phones. So I know there's a single screen version of those games.
Vice City is on phones. You can play it on, San Andreas. You can play on phones. I don't understand why. It doesn't seem like it's like the hardware, the technical capabilities are holding it back. But maybe it could be a Switch Pro launch title. Who knows? They could.
I hope Nintendo's watching this because we're just coming up with some serious
bangers,
quick wins here, guys.
Yeah, someone
just watch this episode. Don't go back like.
The next investors meeting, they'll be like, guys, you've got to watch this. Like, this podcast is incredible. They've got so many good ideas.
Yeah,
like all these Smash characters we can put in. Just
I hadn't heard about this game Grand Theft Auto, but apparently loads of people love it.
Yeah, everyone loves it.
Yeah, try to remember us little guys when you're putting these in the games, Nintendo.
Okay, so what one would we most want on Switch? Is there anyone you're dying to play on the Switch where someone said and you're like, yes, that's the one for me?
Portal was genius. Portal was a genius call for me, and I just think it's logical.
It's kind of a sweep, I think.
Yeah, it's a great suggestion.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
it would like so many other ports, it would be the perfect version. Like we saw with Okami, where suddenly we had pointer controls in HD and stuff. Like this could be the version of Portal 2.
Yeah.
It'd be so good. Like you say, it's PS3. It can't be that hard to port it over. Like, come on.
Let's go.
Unless they're working on a Half-Life 3 for Switch, then maybe I forgo
Switch exclusive.
Switch
dreaming.
exclusive. Yeah, definitely.
Keep dreaming.
Or Half-Life Alex, they're bringing that to. They're gonna have Labo. You could play it on Labo. Who knows? Mate, it could happen. You never know.
I'd try it.
Oh God,
me too.
With your Joy-Cons and your Labo, I don't know.
That would look worse than Outer Worlds.
Yeah, that'd be so bad.
Right. So that kind of rounds up our alternative awards. I've kind of lost track of who won what games won, but
I can highlight them if you want, or we can.
You can put it in the edit.
I can put it in the edit, you know. Congratulations to all the
Yeah.
winners anyway. What better honor than to get an award from us, you know. I'm sure all the developers are watching right now and just feeling really proud of themselves that they've been recognized by Switch Player magazine. And,
There's champagne corks flying all
exactly,
over
all
the
of that.
globe right now.
I can't even believe we didn't dress up in tuxedos because this is like a prestigious event, and we're just in t-shirts and normal clothes. But hey. So Ben, thank you so much for joining us. You've added some real class to this podcast, I'd say.
First time for everything.
And thank you everyone for watching and listening. We'd love to know what you thought of this episode and your thoughts in general. So drop us those in the comments below, or even over on Twitter at SwitchPlayerMag. And we'll be back next week for our final episode of the year before we take a break for Christmas. Not quite sure what it's going to be on, but I'm sure we'll think of something. So until then, we'll see you later. Goodbye.
It's
Bye.